Americans, bless our optimistic hearts, often see Vietnam through an Instagram filter, a carefully curated collection of images that promise an exotic escape, a journey into the heart of Southeast Asian tranquility. We scroll through our feeds, double-tapping on photos that depict a world seemingly untouched by the chaos of modern life. Endless green rice paddies stretch as far as the eye can see, painted across the landscape like a vibrant, living tapestry. Serene farmers, their faces etched with the wisdom of generations, tend to their crops with a quiet grace. Water buffaloes graze peacefully in the fields, their massive forms casting long shadows in the golden light. It's a pastoral dream, a scene ripped straight from a postcard. It all looks so zen, right? A perfect antidote to the stresses and anxieties of our daily lives. A place where you can disconnect from the digital world and reconnect with something more authentic, more real. You imagine yourself there, finding inner peace amidst the lush greenery, sipping coconut water straight from the source, the sweet liquid a refreshing balm to your soul. You envision yourself meditating by a tranquil stream, the gentle sounds of nature washing away your worries, linen shirt fluttering in the breeze. Basically Julia Roberts in Eat, Pray, Love, but with more bug spray. You're ready to embrace the simple life, to shed the layers of modern artifice and discover your true self in the heart of rural Vietnam. You picture yourself effortlessly blending in, a seamless part of the landscape. My plan was simple. I'd seen the pictures, read the blogs, and convinced myself that I was ready for a transformative experience. I was going to leave behind the noise and distractions of my everyday life and immerse myself in the real Vietnam. Escape the digital noise, connect with nature, live authentically. I craved the feeling of being truly present, of experiencing life in its rawest form. I wanted to trade my laptop for a hammock, my deadlines for sunsets, and my anxieties for the gentle rhythm of rural life. The travel blogs promised enlightenment if I just immersed myself. They spoke of profound connections with the local people, of breathtaking landscapes that would leave me speechless, and of a sense of peace that I had never known before. All I had to do was step outside my comfort zone and embrace the unknown. So, I packed my biodegradable soap and a wildly misplaced sense of adventure, ready for my close-up with authenticity. I carefully curated my wardrobe with lightweight, breathable fabrics, imagining myself effortlessly chic as I explored the countryside. I downloaded a language learning app, determined to master at least a few basic phrases. I was ready to become one with Vietnam. Spoiler: the reality of rural Vietnam was a far cry from the carefully filtered images I had seen online. It was an experience that challenged my assumptions, tested my patience, and ultimately taught me a valuable lesson about the difference between perception and reality. Authenticity sometimes smells weird and doesn't care about your comfort. It's not always picturesque or serene. Sometimes it's messy, chaotic, and a little bit overwhelming. It's the sound of roosters crowing at 4 a.m., the pungent aroma of fish sauce wafting through the air, and the constant buzz of motorbikes zipping through narrow streets. I pictured myself bartering in fluent Vietnamese, effortlessly negotiating prices with the local vendors, sharing tea with wise grandmothers, listening to their stories and soaking up their ancient wisdom. I imagined myself becoming a temporary local, embraced by the community and welcomed into their homes, maybe mastering rice farming in an afternoon. I had this romantic notion that I could simply step into their world and instantly become proficient in their way of life. I thought I could learn the secrets of the land in a single afternoon, becoming a temporary expert in the art of rice cultivation. The reality? The reality was a series of comical misadventures and cultural faux pas. It was a constant struggle to communicate, a never-ending battle against the heat and humidity, and a humbling realization that I was far more clueless than I had imagined. I stumbled through markets, overwhelmed by the sights, sounds, and smells. I was a fish out of water, a bewildered tourist lost in a sea of unfamiliar faces and exotic goods, pointed at mysterious objects, unsure of what they were or how to use them. I felt like an alien, completely out of my element and struggling to make sense of my surroundings, and butchered the language so badly I may have accidentally proposed marriage to a pineapple. My attempts at speaking Vietnamese were met with blank stares and bursts of laughter. I quickly learned that a little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing, especially when it comes to languages. Rural Vietnam isn't a Pinterest board. It's not a collection of perfectly staged photos and inspirational quotes. It's a living, breathing, and often chaotic reality. It's messy, loud, bewildering, and honestly, a masterclass in failing at basic human functions. It's a place where things rarely go according to plan, where expectations are constantly challenged, and where you're forced to confront your own limitations. But hey, at least it makes for a good story, right? And in the end, that's what travel is all about. Embracing the unexpected, learning from our mistakes, and collecting stories that we can share for years to come. Even if those stories involve accidentally proposing to a pineapple. Where did I sleep? Not in a charming bungalow, but in a communal home with 3 generations, curious chickens, and maybe a ghost. The walls were so thin you'd say bless you to the neighbor's sneeze. Privacy? Left at the airport. My bed was a mat on the floor. Great for your back if you like feeling every rock. The decor? Aggressively functional plastic chairs in clashing colors, a single flickering bulb, and a mosquito net that inspired little confidence. Every night was an existential adventure in comfort and canine negotiation. Vietnamese food, a cuisine celebrated around the globe. It's famous for its incredible freshness, vibrant flavors, and the artful balance of herbs, spices, and textures. The dishes are light, aromatic, and often incorporate a medley of ingredients that dance on your palate. Before arriving, I had visions of indulging in steaming bowls of pho, and sinking my teeth into crispy, flavorful banh mi. These iconic dishes were definitely on my culinary radar. My hosts, incredibly generous and eager to share their culture, served up true farm-to-table meals, showcasing the freshest ingredients sourced directly from their garden and the surrounding land. A culinary experience that was as authentic as it gets, though sometimes that commitment to freshness was a little too literal for my comfort. Breakfast was a daily surprise, a culinary adventure that started before the sun even fully rose. Noodles in a savory broth, fragrant rice dishes, or mysterious items that defied easy identification. Each morning I faced the unknown with a brave smile plastered on my face and a silent prayer for my digestive system. Lunch and dinner? Well, they were just more rounds of culinary roulette, each meal presenting a new set of intriguing and sometimes perplexing dishes. "What is this?" I'd cautiously inquire, and receive a cheerful, enthusiastic Vietnamese explanation that, unfortunately, I couldn't understand a single word of. This was always followed by a reassuring pat on the back and the universal phrase, "Just eat it." So, with a deep breath and a leap of faith, I did. There was this one time I was served something that looked suspiciously like it might still be, well, alive. It wasn't, at least I don't think it was, but the mere thought of it sent my stomach into a series of acrobatic somersaults. But you simply can't offend your hosts, especially when they've gone to such lengths to share their culture and hospitality. So I channeled my inner Andrew Zimmern, the intrepid food explorer, and prepared myself for the unknown. I took a bite, and then another, carefully and deliberately chewing, trying to decipher the flavors and textures. It was an experience. Let's just say it was character building, pushing my boundaries and expanding my culinary horizons in ways I never imagined. Perhaps it's best if we just leave it at that, shall we? Before my trip, I practiced Vietnamese phrases. Hello, thank you, where's the toilet? I landed, ready to impress. What came out sounded like a cat with a hairball. Locals stared, maybe with pity. Vietnamese is tonal, one word, 6 meanings. I had a supernatural talent for saying the wrong thing, sometimes hilariously, sometimes offensively. Once I tried to compliment the food and accidentally asked if their dog was for sale. Hand gestures became my main language, pointing, nodding, exaggerated faces. Sometimes it worked, sometimes I asked for water and got a live chicken, close enough. I thought I was open-minded until rural Vietnam broke my brain. Personal space? Not a thing. Everyone's in everyone's business, in the nicest way. Sharing your life story with strangers over mystery soup became normal. Time was fluid, see you later could mean 5 minutes or next week. Schedules were suggestions, my type A punctual self nearly combusted, but eventually I learned to go with the flow, mostly. The noise was relentless honking, barking, crowing, music, laughter, a symphony of chaos. Coming from quiet suburbia, it was a sensory assault. I started to wonder if peace and quiet was just a Western myth. Let's talk bathrooms. The Western toilet? A distant dream. Here it was squat toilets. Great for your core, brutal for your thighs. The flush, a bucket of water, toilet paper sometimes. I learned to carry my own. Privacy was minimal. You got to know your neighbor's bathroom habits far too well. And the bugs, so many bugs. Mosquitoes, spiders, lizards, all eager to join you. Showers were cold, taken with a ladle from a communal urn, sometimes with a frog or lizard for company. You learn to appreciate the simple things, like not having a spider crawl into your mouth while you sleep. Despite the discomforts, village life had real magic. The market was a riot of color, sound, and smell. Fruit you've never seen, live fish, women haggling in conical hats. I wandered wide-eyed, dodging motorbikes stacked with chickens. Music was everywhere. V-pop, traditional tunes, impromptu singing. Evenings meant rice wine, laughter, and joining in songs I didn't understand. Local events, weddings, festivals were wild, joyful, and chaotic. I learned to say yes to everything, even if I had no idea what I was agreeing to. It always led to a story. For all my grumbling, the kindness of the people blew me away. My host family treated me like one of their own, making sure I was fed and cared for. Strangers would help me when I was lost, sometimes leading me on unexpected adventures. There was a generosity that transcended language. I remember a market lady picking the best fruit for me and refusing extra payment. Small gestures spoke volumes. Beneath all the chaos, people were fundamentally good, and remarkably patient with clueless foreigners. This wasn't Survivor. It was a lesson in community, warmth, and shared humanity. So, after all the dust had settled, after the motorbike sputtered its last breath for the day, and after I'd had a chance to really reflect on the experience, what did I learn? What nuggets of wisdom did I manage to glean from this immersion into a world so different from my own? It's a question I pondered often, staring out at the rice paddies. I learned that I'm less rugged than I thought. Turns out my tolerance for humidity, questionable sanitation, and the constant symphony of unfamiliar sounds has a limit. I discovered that my comfort zone is perhaps a bit smaller than I previously imagined. Authentic travel often means uncomfortable. It means trading plush mattresses for thin floor mats, air conditioning for a rickety fan, and gourmet meals for whatever's being cooked up in the village that day. And that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's essential. It's in those moments of discomfort that you truly connect with the place and the people. Discomfort brings the best stories. The kind of stories you can't manufacture, the kind that bubble up from shared experiences and unexpected encounters, the kind you'll be telling for years to come. Communication is more than words. It's about gestures, expressions, and a willingness to meet halfway. It's about finding common ground even when you don't share a common language. A smile or a laugh bridges any gap. It's a universal language that transcends cultural barriers and creates genuine connections. It's a reminder that we're all human, regardless of where we come from. People here have less stuff, less material wealth, but more community and spirit. They share what they have, they support each other, and they find joy in the simple things. Fish sauce isn't trying to kill you, probably. It might smell a little funky, but it's an essential ingredient in Vietnamese cuisine, and you might even learn to love it. Embrace the unfamiliar flavors. So would I recommend this to another American? Would I subject another poor American soul to the joys and challenges of rural Vietnam? If you want infinity pools, air-conditioned buses, and predictable menus, then definitely look elsewhere. This isn't the vacation for you. But if you want something real, something that strips away pretensions and shows you a different way of life, something that challenges your assumptions and expands your horizons, then absolutely. Just pack wet wipes, hand sanitizer, and a strong stomach. You'll need them. And maybe a phrasebook. You'll thank me. Or at least, you'll thank yourself for taking the leap, or curse me. There will be moments when you question your sanity, when you long for the comforts of home. Either way, you won't forget it. This trip will stay with you long after you've returned home, a vibrant memory etched into your soul.